Dear hi everybody, and top of the morning to yous. Welcome back, my fellow uncoot Americans. There is some bullshit going on in Ireland right now, so I shall do a bit on our very first Irish Appalachian American President, Andrew Jackson. But before I fully get into things, I want to stress that I would very much appreciate you, lovely lazy bastards, to hit that like and subscribe button. I don't expect or want a big following. Oh, I hate that word. Following. Are we Jesus? We have followers? I just don't like it. But here we are. I talk of things that our teachers done left out when we were all in school. I think it would benefit us all to have more general knowledge to reach more people. So hit that like and subscribe button, please. If you don't know what to leave in the comments, I love patriotism and nationalism. You can put flags, do an emoji battle down there. I don't care. Put anything, just keep it respectful, please. And thank you for the dears whom already left their lovely comments. Thank you, darlings. They love me. All 40 of them really love me. Now, on with the show. Andrew Jackson was born March 15, 1767, from two Irish immigrants. Both Carolinas claimed his birthplace, but it has been narrowed down to Waxhaw's region of South Carolina. He was not only the first Irish-blooded president, but he was also the first to come from the Western Appalachian territories. This is when it was kind of semi-illegal to go further than the Appalachians, because it was considered native territory, and the crown did have some limits. They did. And on this western frontier, Jackson grew up during the Revolutionary War, with little to no schooling for he and his brothers. And when he refused one day to polish a British soldier's boots, he was struck across the face with a sword, causing his infamous scar. Oh my God, what is up with some people? You're a soldier serving someone that's supposed to be fighting for the better half of whatever war, and you strike a child because your butt hurt that they didn't kowtow to your demand? Just make it end already. Ugh. Well, they did, because his entire family, his mother and his brothers, were all killed when the Redcoats invaded the Carolinas. Oh, how awful. What a terrible upbringing. You got the wilds of actual wilderness and the wilds of humanity all in one. Oof! No wonder he was the way he was. Let us see. Once the Revolutionary War ended, Jackson set himself to study law in a lawyer's office of Salisbury, North Carolina. He passed the bar in 1788, becoming the prosecuting attorney of the Western Front Territory. Today it is known as Tennessee. Whilst he rubbed elbows with fellow politics, he met Rachel Robards, daughter of Colonel John Dulce. By 1796, Tennessee had become the 16th state, and Jackson was the first representative of Tennessee. Except by 1797, only months later, Jackson left to never want re-election again. He was soon later elected to Superior Court as a judge. See, guys? No schooling, an apprenticeship, and then just practically slingshot to the top. It was also different times, but still, hey, kudos, man. In 1802, Jackson was elected Major General of the Tennessee Militia. He gathered some 50,000 volunteers to fight the Brits and the Creek Indians, and then help invade Canadian territory once the War of 1812 hit, also known as the James Madison War, giving Tennessee its nickname, the Volunteer State. Andrew Jackson swept the southern territories like a plague. There were multiple battles, such as the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, also known as the Battle of Tehopica. Please forgive me if I said that wrong. And because of this unmatched campaign of his, All American enemies that crossed their paths were annihilated. That is both glorifying and cringing at the same time. Redcoats took to Canada, and some back to Britain with the Treaty of Ghent. Spain retreated to South America, the islands and Mexican territories of the far west, and the Indians were chased out so violently they never returned to the South again. Well, the majority anyway. Some actually stuck around to proclaim citizenship. We'll get to that in a minute. All of this made Andrew Jackson an American war hero. I doubt there are other sides, like the Indians and Brits would think the same. But hey, it's all about the point of view, isn't it, darlings? By 1822, Jackson's friends of higher places turned him out as the front-runner for presidency, riding on his war hero popularity and the fact that the man still had a bullet in him. Goodness. I must say, that is tough, no matter who you are. Well, it didn't quite work, not until 1828, because of scandal. Ugh. Yes, the president-elect and his first lady were public adulterers. This was also known as the Petticoat Affairs, and they were shamed to a point of divorce, and then they remarried, and then they regretted it again. Oh, it's just fun, isn't it? You know, I think the show Hot in Cleveland was correct. One of the requirements of being an American president is some level of sexual degeneracy. It really is. Even with his scandalous affair and marriage, Jackson was successful, then declared the Westward Movement, adding an additional pushback on Indian territories with more removal acts. By the way, there's like 100 Indian removal acts from several different presidents and other politicians. Aside from his gallant westward plans, Jackson also introduced manhood suffrage. Yes, ladies, men can suffer too. Calm down. See, only landowners and men of wealth could vote and this, that, the other. But Andrew, who was a humble man himself, said, "Fuck that shit. We lead these men, and these men should have a say in who does the leading." Again, keep in mind, he was of poverty, and he spoke for those who were also of poorer status during his services to America. And he never lost his humble side as he gained power and money. You see, I think that's where the true problem lies today. You have people born of money today. Originally, they were from nothing and had to build. You know, that added layers to them as a human being, and therefore they could talk to the people. Nowadays, you got these trust fund babies that are calling the shots on how to rule the world, and they don't even understand how the world technically works when you're poor. They have not gone out to get their hands dirty. And I'm sorry, doing a teenager's fast food job isn't the same thing, honey. It's not. Just saying. I digress. Moving on. Upon the year 1830, not only was expansion in progress gone westward, but the original 13 colonies as well. The Carolinas and Georgia were having tariff wars with the North, and Georgia had claimed thousands of more acres, but they were all held up in modern progress due to the remaining Cherokee Nation. I think some of you know where I'm clearly going with this. The Trail of Tears was enforced to driving this huge nation made up of a few tribes and thousands of peoples to the other side of the Kansas or Missouri at the time territory. Most of them left, but some simply stayed put and declared their citizenship in order to not be forced from their home. President Andrew Jackson died June 8, 1845, in his estate near Nashville, Tennessee, at 78 years old. Another long one for such an era. He was buried in a tomb with his wife. I did find that there were some plans to move his remains elsewhere for some reason. But those fell through, and his remains are still in his plantation home to this day. His face was then put years later on the $20 bill in his memory, 1928, which is considered ironic because, as I said earlier, he was not a big fan of upper classes. No, he was a very impoverished man and humbled. And with this, I am done. As always, forgive me if I left anything out, said a name wrong. I'm trying to keep things brief, and you all know how this works. Grab thy vices and slunch it to the very first Irish Appalachian American president, Andrew Jackson, and the positive parts of his legacy. Do not forget to coexist and take history with a grain of salt, people. And slán.